Guys, so in this video I'll be teaching you how to write your development impact essays for your Commonwealth shared scholarship, as well as showing you mine, so make sure you take screenshots. Okay, before I start, I would like you to take a screenshot of this page and try to answer these questions very briefly on a piece of paper. This will give you a rough idea of what you're going to write in your essay, and it will be easier for you to expand it. So the first question is, explain how your proposed study relates to development issues at the global, national, and local levels. I'll be showing you how to answer this question. Before you answer this question, please think about what issue you're going to be talking about. From the example I'll be showing you of my own essay, I was specific about COVID-19 vaccination. So think about something you want to, an issue you've noticed. Think about a pressing national issue or a global issue that you have identified and you want to run with. It could be a global warming, it could be, poor education, education inequality, whatever it is. Make sure you're running with a particular topic. So there's something that I did. I picked one issue and I used it all through my essays. So this will make sure that you're not blabbing and you're always going straight to the point. And anyone who reads your essay will know, yes, this is exactly what this person is interested in. And you're not talking about a million things at the same time. If you read my first paragraph here, I have said, with the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, the world has realized the urgent need to strengthen the global healthcare systems. Now, what you see here is that I have introduced the theme of my own area of study. By now, you should know that Commonwealth shared scholarships have themes. So my own theme is strengthening healthcare systems. So I just introduced that. And then you can see that the problem I have identified is the lack of epidemiologists to, monitor data for disease occurrences. Then, why is it an important issue? Always use statistics. Then you briefly introduce what you want to study. Now, from my own example, you can see that I identified that COVID-19 infection was a big problem and that vaccines were not necessarily being given to people who needed it. Then I explained here that therefore studying the factors affecting COVID-19 vaccination intent will result in a widespread intake, thereby improving the quality of life. So go ahead, identify a global problem, use statistics whether from CDC, WHO, or any reliable source, and make sure you bring it down home to your home country. Make sure you mention that it is also a problem locally in your home country. Tell us why it is an important problem and how your study would help in solving this problem, and end it by mentioning the SDGs you'll be tackling. So I mentioned that I'll be dealing with SDGs 3 and 4. You can pause this, take a screenshot, and see how I have explained and arranged my information to make perfect sense. The next part of the question is to discuss how your studies will contribute to sustainable development in your home country. So I have highlighted that you should tell them, go straight to the point and tell them the exact part of your study that will be beneficial. You can decide to choose your dissertation. So from my example, you see that I mentioned how my dissertation was going to be useful. You can use, say you're going to make connections. You can say that the practical knowledge that you will learn from maybe the practical from the laboratory experience, or if there's going to be any posting, that this will help you make sustainable changes. And also mention the exact activities. If you want to start an NGO, tell them you're going to start an NGO. If you want to implement some policies where you're working, let's say you were working in a company before you went for your master's. When you come back to your country, you're going back to your company to make some changes or to utilize. So make sure you are very clear, mention activities. So I'm going to read my own so you see how I implemented what I'm just saying. From my answer, you can see here that I said that my research dissertation will help spread information about vaccination, and also when I return to my country, I'll be promoted from a graduate assistant in my current, which is my current position, to an assistant lecturer, and this will help me take up courses in epidemiology that will help me implement the things that I have learned to make sure that students are learning newer epidemiological methods for doing research, So you see how I gave practical examples of the exact things I am going to do and how this is very sustainable on the long run. So you can take a screenshot. You don't have to copy exactly what I've done, but this is just to guide you, to show you how you can write your own. For the question 2 of the development impacts, they will ask you what you expect to change in development terms following your studies. A is, what are the outcomes that you aim to achieve? Now remember, I told you something from the beginning. Make sure you pick something that a problem you want to solve and run with it. Now, from the previous question that you answered, you told us what exactly you're going to do, what you're going to implement. Now, what are the outcomes you expect to see? This could be in form of do you want to see behavior change? Do you want to change policies? Do you want to inculcate new knowledge through maybe teaching, through your publications? Do you want to build a new NGO? So you have to be very specific with examples. Tell us exactly the outcomes you want. For instance, I want to develop an NGO that will help educate young women on menstrual education or menstrual hygiene, and the outcomes you want to see is improvement in menstrual hygiene, reduction in infections due to poor menstrual hygiene. These are specific outcomes. Okay, so I'm going to read my own example. So you can see from my own example that I mentioned that my publications will help educate more people on the need for vaccination and also influence policies. And I also said that I will be holding rural outreaches which will encourage people to take up vaccines to help protect them. So the outcomes will be increase in the uptake of vaccines. You have to stick to 1 to 2 outcomes and explain them very well, how you're going to implement and how these outcomes are going to be realized. So you can stick to 2 and be very specific, explain them very well. You can take a screenshot or pause this video and read my own very well. The next part of this question is the time frame for implementing whatever it is you want to implement and who the beneficiaries will be. So you have to be specific again. Call names. If there's a village you want to go and implement your activities in, mention the village, mention the community. If there's a group of people, mention them. If it is children, if it's the name of a school, please be very specific. If you're going back to your company or where you're working already, mention that company, mention your workplace, that you're going back there to implement whatever it is and who exactly are going to benefit. Is it students? Is it the staff? Is it the community members? Is it whoever it is? Mention them and tell us how long it's going to take you to implement that issue. I will suggest that you stick to 1 to 2 years. Don't come and start telling them it will take you 10 years, 5 years. No, anything between 1 to 2 years, and make sure that your plans are very realistic and simple. I made a video in my previous video. I'm going to tag it up. My previous video, I mentioned that you don't need to tell them you're going to build a factory, you're going to build a school. You can do little things such as carrying out awareness programs, educational programs, starting a small NGO, or just going back to where you've been working before and implementing what you've learned. You don't need to start doing very big things that nobody has done before in your country or in your community. It is not realistic and nobody is giving you money to conduct any large project. So keep it simple. You can see here that I mentioned that mine would take approximately 2 years immediately after my studies, and I mentioned those who will be the direct beneficiaries of my project. So you can pause this and read. The last part of the development impact question is how will you measure the impact of your activities? So this is like a follow-up on your activities. How will you know that it is beneficial? What measurement tools will you use? So I've given some ideas. You can use feedback from questionnaires. You can, if you're going to publish your research, you can say you're going to provide the DOI to the scholarship body in due time. You can say you're going to measure the decrease in disease rates through observational studies. You're going to check if there are less, out of school pupils or students depending on the problem you're trying to tackle. So you have to think about the measurement tools you're going to use, and these measurement tools have to be very specific and have to be realistic. You can't tell them, oh, I'm going to check if people have stopped dying. How? If less people are dying from HIV, how will you do that? Tell them maybe you're going to carry out a study or you utilize a questionnaire, you do an observational study, you ask questions, you find a way to make sure that you're getting exact feedback to know that you're comparing the results from before you started and after you implemented your activities to know if actually you made an impact. You can see that all through my essays, I was mentioning that I was going to publish my research work and I was going to, implement what I've learned to the curriculum of the students I'm already teaching. So I said I will provide the DOI of my publication and I'll also review the curricula of the school, of the students I'm teaching, and see if they are learning anything new through examinations or feedback from them. So you can pause this and read. Make sure that you're very specific. You're calling names, you're mentioning the people, the population, the company, the organization that you're going to be implementing this thing in, and how you're going to check if this thing has really worked. Okay, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I'll be making other videos on other essays such as the study outline essay, the SOP, and all that. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss any of these videos. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section. You can send me an email. My email is in my bio, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.